Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
Yes, just a couple of sleeps away. Time to get the Stanley Cup Final up and running. The NHL descending onto our fair city here in Edmonton. Media Day set to go tomorrow, and we got a dynamite preview show for you tonight. Making his Got Your Back debut. You wanted him. You asked for him. We got him. The Bobfather, Bob Stauffer. From 880 Chat and the Oilers Radio Network, set to join Struds and I here in our first segment. Looking forward to a great show tonight. We're live on YouTube and on X as well. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. As always, our show is brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gambling partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta is cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make game time more interesting. Deposit today, you'll get a $50 free bet with the code GYB06. It is shifted to GYB06 this month. Visit playalberta.ca for more. I'm coming at you nice and cozy from my Adrenaline Diesel studio. All new 24/7 mobile truck service is ready to go for roadside emergencies, scheduled repairs, expert diagnostics anytime, anywhere for service truck emergencies. Give them a call, 780-907-1965, extension 119. Oh boy, this has been a long time in the making, Bob. I don't even know the last time you and I shared the airwaves together, my friend. I watched you and Struds next to each other all year with the man Gene on the Oilers broadcast. You guys did a great job. But Bobby, it's been too long for me and you, my friend. A wonderful reunion.
Oh, we'll see whether or not people feel that way or not. I can tell you that it was August the 15th of 2008.
Of course you would remember.
That was the last show I did on Total Sports, and you were on that show. It was a Friday show because we did it. I know we did it over at Northlands when we still had the races over there, and so because I know Jonathan Huntington was there that day, but you swung by as well, and I remember that Corey Blatchell brought a couple of guys from the Edmonton Eskimos football team, and they're like, "Who the hell's this Bob guy that's doing his last show?" I'm sure you were on that show that day, so spec. So there, Struds, you were still playing. You were still willing your way to a 600 NHL career because you're one of the greatest teammates of all time. So there you go.
Yeah, great to have you, Bob. I'm fired up.
Gosh, do you really feel that way? You're like, I got to put up with this guy all season long on the panels, and now I'm stuck with him tonight.
Yeah. You know, I actually I have evidence here, Bob. I text Struds and I said, "Hey man, Stauf's coming on the show tonight." And Struds' response was, what was it? I got it here. He was like, "Sweet!" exclamation point. That was his response, Stauf. So that's genuine, even though I don't know, was that a bit of a backhanded compliment, Struds? Your career lasted that long because you were a great teammate? Like, was it not about the playing at all?
No, I mean, well, we can dive into the stats, and they were incredible. But I mean, that's a nice compliment. But I've got to say, in my life, I've maybe been stumped or been caught off guard once or twice. And Bob, you did it this year. Do you remember when we were on the panel and you made some comment about Leon Draisaitl blocking shots naked? I didn't even know what to say. I was like, did he just say that? I'm like, what does he mean? Like, I was like,
just so you know, I stole that line. I was watching the old Blue Gray Classic. It was a game for all of the college guys that weren't going to bowl games that were seniors. It was played in Montgomery, Alabama back in the 80s. Okay. And they had some undersized linebacker out there, and he was on punt coverage, made a great tackle, and he said, "Look, man, I'll do anything to play in the NFL. I'll block punts in the nude if I have to." So I've translated that and used that. And you know what? You guys actually played in some form or another for Stu McGregor. I wasn't good enough for Stu for him to even sell me the Kamloops back in the day. And part of the reason is I never came close to blocking a shot. I had a little bit of finish, but I cheated a lot for offense. I was the guy that put up good numbers that had the bad plus minus, right? That was me. So, but you guys you guys both found a way to play the and I might have, you know what, at 14, 15, maybe there was a chance of probably not that I might have been better than you, but it's credit to both of you. Like Ryan, I bust you all the time about being a townie and making Kamloops, and then for you, Struds, I mean, you had 600 games in the NHL because you had guts and because you're a great teammate. And there's a lot of other guys, if they didn't have the character that you had, they never play a game in the league. And you found a way. Yeah. And so I always tip my hat to any guy that can do that.
Thank you.
There you go. I love it. We're 4 minutes into the show.
Swing by the booth tomorrow night and drop off some cash. All right. How does that sound?
Yeah. So there you go. E-transfers.
Yep.
Yeah. The stream is absolutely loving having Bob on here. The Mediterranean chicken has arrived. That's coming to us from JL. Rip City Step says, Bob will bring the heat to Florida. We need another Bob Strut video. Cyril Strainer.
Only one a year. Only do one a year. Only do one a year.
Oh, that's it.
Can't do more than 1 year.
What's this from Thaddeus? Would you guys ask Bob if he'd be Bobfather to our baby girl due in August? That's weird, Thaddeus. That's Steve. What are you doing with that? That's a weird one.
It's nice.
Keep the soccer stuff off the screen. Bobfather. Oh boy. Okay, listen. We got a Stanley.
Guys, I had a guy tonight. I swung by the Safeway because I only shop for one day at a time to pick up my a version of my drinks. And this fella I've never met before goes, I want to buy you a drink. Actually, I want to buy you several drinks. Do you want to go for a drink? And I'm thinking to myself, Edmontonians are really warm. I got to get out right now out of the Safeway and get back to my place. Yeah. So it was a little different, but man, lots of positive energy these days in oil country.
Thaddeus says, if for no other reason than to get Stauf a ring, we need to win this series. Do you get a ring if the Oilers win the Cup, Bob? Do you know?
No,
are you on the list?
No idea. It's about the players, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Good. We'll know every day after, though, because if you get one, I know it'll be an everyday part of the wardrobe.
Ryan, I have 3 U of A rings, and I don't think I've ever worn them once. So
all right.
They go where my ties go in the upper drawer of my house. And as you've seen recently, I can't fit into the ties anymore because I'm getting too fat around the neck. So I have to go without the ties.
All right, let's talk about a Stanley Cup Final, shall we? Let's get into our breakdown here, brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. Ram trucks continue to deliver with power, style, and innovation. The 2025 Ram 1500 features a bold new powertrain, a redesigned exterior, and state-of-the-art technology. Check out the most awarded light-duty truck ever. See your Ram dealer today. Break down about this series and lots of different directions we could take it, but the specific question I'll start with here with you is, what storyline are you most intrigued by heading into this year's final? Like, what are you paying most attention to about this rematch?
I want to see how Edmonton handles what has been a ferocious Florida forecheck. I think as I watched the Panthers work their way back in that series with the Leafs, Toronto added some heavier, bigger D that could stop cycles. I think Brad Treliving did a real good job there. A bounce or two maybe earlier in the series, and the Leafs maybe get out. But Game 5 and Game 7, you just can't walk back those performances. And it looked to me like Florida took the will away from Toronto, eliminated their transition game because the Leafs didn't have enough guys in the back end that can make plays. And I'm lucky enough to travel with the team all year and be a real pain in the ass for whoever the general manager of the team is. And usually the first day of the road trip, maybe go for a 7-up. And Stan Bowman identified early that the Oilers were going to have to, everybody thought they needed a cycle stopper or shutdown defenseman maybe added to the team. And Stan was like, Bob, I think we need another guy or two that can transition the puck. Maybe they transport it, but they definitely have to transition it. And I just look at the makeup of this defense. I think this is the best defense the Oilers have had since 1987, when Paul Coffey, that was his last playoff run with the Oilers before he got moved during the 87-88 season in the Simpson trade. Ray Ruotsalainen was on that team, Kevin Lowe, Charlie Huddy, Dr. Randy Gregg, Craig Muni. There was some real good players in that defense. And I think this year's addition probably might even move the puck better than that group. right? So I think it's a significant upgrade over last year in the playoffs. And I'm going to be very interested to see who wins between the Florida forecheck and the Oilers' ability to get the puck out of the ice.
I'll try not to take it personally. Overlooked my 3 years with the Oilers and the puck moving ability, Bob.
You were on the wing half the time, so
fair point. Fair point. So, Bob, in what way do you think that this Florida Panthers group of forwards will challenge the Oilers more than the forecheck that Vegas was trying to get going?
I think Florida has better forwards. They got a way better third line. I will say this: Vegas had strength down the spine, Jason. Like Eichel was fantastic in that series. He was their best player. Carlson was nicked up, but was pretty good. Nicola Waugh had a couple tough games. Howden gave them some moments. I think they probably missed Chandler Stevenson a little bit, at center, his speed. But I think that Florida's got better wingers than Vegas had. And, they basically run a couple tandems, right? Like Bennett plays with Kachuk, and then Barkov plays with Reinhart, and then they sort of alternate the guys over on the left side there. And then the third line with Losterane and Marchand flanking Lundell. And Lundell's a guy that can step up and play in the top six. So I think Florida's, and then the fourth line's got a real identity. They're tough as nails. Like when they're playing Gadjevich, who's a legitimately tough guy, and Greer, who can do that as well. They don't play those guys a lot. They play those guys like 9 minutes. But I think right now Florida's got the better forwards than Vegas. It should be mentioned, Florida plays man defense. Vegas plays as good a zone defense as any team in the league. But I do think that's where the matchup. That's to me. I think Florida's better than they were a year ago, and I think the Oilers were as well. The Oilers are as well.
Struddy, Bob touched on it a little bit before with Stan Bowman's philosophy. Rather than going and getting what you don't have, identify what you're good at and go get more of that. And as a result, he makes 2 moves. One, somewhat risky, 1.7 on Klingberg, I would say. A bit of a risk there, considering they were only going to have space to make so many moves. And then he goes out and gets Jake Wallman, who I hadn't heard talked a lot about in the lead up. Struds, both these players have worked out phenomenally to the point where try and figure out what the second pairing is here. They basically dropped a second pairing onto this team. Like, it's hard to put into words, Struds, how dramatically that changes things for the Oilers when those 2 moves from Bowman happen and they both are peaking right now.
And they both do it differently. For Klingberg, he doesn't move super fast, but his patience with the puck, and he knows what he's going to do with it before he even gets there. And that's how you're supposed to do it, to be honest. But he's so patient, makes such smooth breakout passes, uses body shield and just dumps pucks off. He's really good. Whereas Wallman is getting back there a little quicker. He needs a little bit more time just to process it. Not that he's dumb, but just to, no one really fires like Klingberg. He's really smart. He gets back quick, makes quick plays, and is a little more physical or rips the pass. I think he's one of the hardest passers on the Oilers' back end. So they both do it differently, but both are effective. But the big thing is, and when you're playing forward and those D-men transition it quick, guys, it's so frustrating. You're trying to get there and it's already coming back out the other way. That's really hard. You've skated that far. And just like pounding the other team's D-men wears you down, boys. Moving the puck quickly and not letting someone get their forecheck set up, that is also frustrating and can be somewhat tiring, Bob.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the goal. And, I think if you look at Bowman's body of work since he came here, I mean, is it fair to say Podkolzin sort of exceeded
excellent addition. Like,
well beyond.
I mean, I feel bad for Klingberg because if you look at the cap carrying forward, they got Emerson as a 6 and Stetcher as a 7 at the price point. John Klingberg, based on how he's performed in the playoffs, someone might sign him to a $3 or $4 million deal. He looks like he can at least run a second unit power play again. There was a time in which he was, in terms of being able to lateral movement and walking the blue line, he was top 5 defenseman on the planet before he had those hip issues. But so Emerson was at least a decent depth pickup. They bought the team down a little bit. Ultimately, they replaced Broberg with Wallman. I'm almost certain they're going to extend Wallman when they get the opportunity. People forget he's got another year left. They went out and got Ryan. I was like you with Klingberg. I was concerned that it wasn't going to work, and then he comes in game 2 against LA, and I'm like, "Whoa, now where was he before?" Right? Like,
I know.
He
It was crazy.
really crazy. And then he went and got Frederick, and they didn't move Kane's contract out. And so they've got Kane and Frederick, who are going to be important guys for the series as well, given how Florida plays. So there's a methodology to Bowman's approach, and they grind. Like, there's the amount of work they did in terms of trying to backfill sort of Bakersfield in the future and get 3 or 4 players out of Europe and a couple guys out of the NCAA. The Oilers were getting one of those guys in the past carrying forward. Mm-hmm. They added like 5 or 6, and if a couple of them pan out, it's found money. Kudos to them.
Got a great lively stream going tonight. Thanks for all your contributions. Nice question here from DJ Regier. I'll start with you, Bob, and then your thoughts on this one. He says, Kulak on the wrong side concerns me when getting pressured. So with the adjusted D pairings and such, Brett Kulak ends up most likely moving over. What do you think, Bob, of what you've seen from Kulak when he has to shift over? He was less apt to do it this time last year, but this season I think has been a lot better at it. But what do you think against a hard charge in Panthers forecheck, being on the wrong side?
It's a legitimate point to make, and there's a reason why Canada in 2014, a little bit with Kevin Lowe's input, Pete Chiarelli was on that staff as well. They built a lefty-righty combination with all 3 pairings over at the Olympics, right? Like, I think there's a natural intuitiveness that works. And that's why I wasn't surprised that Stetcher had success playing with Darnell Nurse. And the other thing with Stetcher is he plays hard, firm, and direct. And I think in the playoffs, the best players, that's how they play. I think that could be an area that you might see Florida try to, we'll see how Kulak does. He can skate himself out of trouble. He's a strong guy. He does tend to play better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. And after a couple tough initial shifts in the game against Dallas, I thought those guys got a lot better, and I think the analytics supported it. So, I mean, maybe I'm relying too much on analytics and not on the eye test, but to me, it looked like it got better as the game wore on.
Yeah, for him, when you're playing your offside, I always found you needed to get the pucks. You had to get to it sooner, right? You had to arrive soon because you need an extra second, maybe turn and get up ice. Whereas on your forehand, especially in that corner, you turn up and now you're already on your forehand. So it's a little bit harder making those plays on his backhand. But the good thing is if he skates behind the net, he's on his forehand. Mm-hmm. So get back fast. That's my advice to him. Just looking up front, guys, that third line of Florida has been really solid. You guys kind of touched on a little bit. But Bob, my concern is that, the first line, second line, Bennett, Barkov, we all know about those guys, but we can't forget that third line has been all world for Florida in that item. So I don't know that Knobloch is going to match lines. I'm not sure if you feel any differently, but do the Oilers have the same depth matchup wise to take those guys on if they do start going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3?
And an extension to that, Bob, is what do we think the Oilers' third line will look like, guys, with Connor Brown available again?
Yeah, good point.
I don't know about you guys, but I thought Adam Henrique's best game of the playoffs was Game 6 against Dallas. I know he had 2 goals in which game was it against? Anyways, he had a 2-goal game earlier in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I liked how I thought he was moving his feet. Frederick was over on the right side. Jeff Skinner gave you a goal. Now they're playing a very different opponent, right? They're playing a team that is far more assertive than Dallas is. I wonder whether or not we might see that trio again. And if there's, Brown comes back in, maybe, where's I don't see Podkolzin coming out. So for me, it's if Brown comes in, it's either Skinner or Arvidsson. It's one of those 2 guys. And I didn't mind the third line. Doesn't mean that I'm right. Just that's my own perception.
My gut is Arvidsson. That's my gut. Don't have any information or anything, but that's my gut. Give Skinner an opportunity to keep building off of what he did there, and then it's an easy switch if you have to make that switch and feel like you need a different type of player. But the intangibles here, Bob, the Oilers, they lose Zach Hyman from their lineup. It's obvious all the different ways that hurts them, but you have to remind people who are down about that
The Oilers did not have a healthy Evander Kane last year. He was a mess early in the series, obviously exited the series. He talked today about having to just take a needle on off days to be able to feel normal and walk around. That tells you how diminished he was. So you mentioned Gadjevich, you mentioned Bennett. You know, they got Tkachuk, who, whatever, not in the same class, but rough and tumble. How do you think that Kane will change the dynamic here, given that he's healthy and probably a lot more able to bring those elements than he did last year?
Well, the only thing I'd say is if Kane does it, he's got to do it against Bennett and Tkachuk and not worry about Gadjevich and Greer. I don't mean to sound like an elitist here, but those guys play under 10 minutes a game. And the Oilers with Hyman out, they're going to need Evander Kane to play 16 minutes a game. So he's got to take, to me, a like-minded player off the ice if he gets engaged in something. I think if you look at how Tkachuk cooled off after game one of the Calgary-Edmonton series in 22, I think Evander Kane played a part of that. I think Evander is prepared to engage in verbal warfare to get a point across. I think he's absolutely critical. There is another player better than Evander who was completely compromised as that series went on last year. He's got the pain threshold of a cadaver, but that was Leon Draisaitl. Leon had at least 2 injuries that he was playing through against Florida last year, and he is in a way better place right now. And I think that can make it. I agree with you, Ryan, on Kane, but I also think we're going to see a better version of Leon. And you can't even compare Corey Perry from a year ago where he scored 1 goal, which was in game 5 of the final, the entire playoff run, to the Corey Perry right now. He's looking like the ageless wonder. So they've got some different dimensions and some players playing at a higher level.
Bob, guys, I think that Kane, within 5 shifts, takes a run at Tkachuk right away, and then he's on him the whole time. He feels like he owned him after the Calgary series you spoke about earlier, Bob. I think he's going right at him. I think he's going to say, you want to chirp? I'm your guy. And not like jump him or anything like that, but just run him relentlessly. I think Trent Frederick is another guy who can be physical on guys like Ekblad. He can be physical on Sam Bennett. But I think Tkachuk is the head of the snake, and you're probably not going to take him out of the series, but you have to let him know it's going to be rough for him all night. And I think Kane lives for that, boys. He wants that.
Yeah. I will.
Go ahead.
Sorry, but just one sec quick here. Struds, I don't know if disagree is the right word, but I don't know that the Oilers are a team that's going to go out and try and dictate physically. So far in the playoffs, they have been willing to kind of see what the other team is willing to do. They will match them. You know, Hyman was a wrecking ball, but I don't know that they're going to go get it the way that you're suggesting. Even Kane, I think, has been a little bit more picking his spots, I would say, for that type of stuff. I don't know if I'm overthinking that, Bob. Maybe you can break the tie. Do you see the Oilers going and getting it physically, or do you wait, see what the Panthers bring, and then match them, step by step, and then Kane can lean in at that point? I don't think they're going to go get it.
I look to past results. So Chris Knobloch in the 7 series that he's coached before this is 9-12 in games 1 through 3. And then he's 18-2 in games 4 through 7. That to me is a sign that the team works their way in. Now, they got home ice. They got to capitalize.
Can't do that this time.
Right. They got to be ready to go. I'd love if they came out the way they did in game 4 against Vegas. I just don't know if that's feasible every night. I think you also have to. I think they were mad and angry as a team how they lost game 3. But I think they got to make hay here at home no matter what, right? Like you got the start at home. You can't afford the start that they had in Florida last. Game 1 was game 1 was there to be had. They just had to take it, and then game 2 wasn't close. So, and we'll see how the game gets managed / officiated.
Yeah.
Right. Like generally speaking, Florida's fairly disciplined for a team that's an aggressive team. Like they don't end up shorthanded a bunch more than they're on the power play. And they got excellent penalty killing. They got the best penalty killing unit in the league here. Now, one area that's different between the Dallas series and Florida. Florida is a bad face-off team. They're 15th out of 16 teams. The Oilers really got kicked in the teeth in the circle as that series, with the exception of game 6. But games 3, 4, and 5, they got taken to the cleaners in the draw. And, Bennett's at like 33% right now on face-offs.
Yeah.
So, Barkov. He's a great two-way player. I think it'll be aggressive and and hits will be made. I don't know if we're going to see any of the explosiveness that Cam Moon and myself saw in Montreal the first 9 seconds when the U.S. and Canada played. That was awesome.
I was there too. Yeah.
That was awesome.
All right. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to get to it. Great preview there in our breakdown segment brought to you by Alberta's Ram Dealers. Bob, when we have somebody new on the podcast, we always ask them our signature question. It is the title of the pod, Got Your Back. We always look for that story from somebody where maybe at a certain point in your life, someone came through for you. Someone had your back. Somebody, you had to lean on someone and they came through. So who had the Bobfather's back? What do you got?
Wes Montgomery and John Sexsmith. So Wes was a guy that said, Stauf, you have the ability to do this. You've got a great memory for detail. You got some talent. You lack some charisma. That'll come in time. But
2 out of 3 came around.
Yeah, he said, exactly. He said, don't get derailed. Like, don't worry. It was a time in which a lot of radio stations went from everybody having a sports guy to nobody. And then when 1260 got going in its infancy, really John Sexsmith was the guy to steer me to Brent Griffiths and Marty Forbes and guys like that Carl Stark was a sales guy. And, it kind of took off. And you got to be able to sell. We all sell in one form or another. But that doesn't happen. Specifically, Wes when I was younger, and then sort of in the early 2000s, I owed a great debt of gratitude to John Sexsmith as well, because they certainly helped campaign for me at that time.
Love it. A couple of icons in the city as well. Bob, This has been amazing, buddy. Hopefully we get a chance to do this again. So on 880 CHED, Oilers Radio Network, all over the Oilers website as well. Did you guys have a panel today, or do you have one coming up tomorrow?
We had one. We had one yesterday that we did. It was up last night, and it's we're looking forward to it. It's an exciting time. I had quite a. I don't know if you saw this, but Michael Lake, who's a conservative MP, referenced our show and some comments that Mark Carney made. And I thought to myself, I'm not sure if I've made it or not when they're talking about us in the House of Commons. So, but he didn't outright say Oilers now, but I got a good chuckle over that, and flattered that you thought that it was appropriate to have me on. You'll probably be second guessing yourself after this. So,
no, not at all, buddy. And on game nights, what's the timing of your show and the pregame show and everything?
So I'm on tomorrow tomorrow's the game day. Tomorrow I'm on 3 to 6 with 2 different shows. Game nights 2 to 4 for when the games are at 6, and then we get into our pregame show. And I love doing the panels this year with we did a few more this year with Jason Strudwick as Mac T cut back a bit. So we found the one guy in Edmonton smarter than Craig McTavish, and who knew that was Joaquin Gage? But anyways,
Love it, Bob.
Great stuff,
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
All right. Cheers, buddy. We'll see you at Media Day tomorrow. That is Bob Stauffer. Yes, the man himself. Worlds collide. Bob Stauffer on Got Your Back, Struds. It had to happen at some point. Did not disappoint, man.
Awesome guy. He is truly, and the fans really love him. It's so funny. That video of him walking in Vegas into the airport or out of the airport, like the Bobfather, people were going crazy. Read the comments. Like, I loved it. It's so good. It's so good. Treasure.
Lots of shout outs here for Royal Pizza. Well, of course, we'll give him the Royal Pizza shout out because, Bob, obviously that Mediterranean chicken. Mason Berg says Stauf, absolute legend. Wes Montgomery is classic, says Hank 809. Great to have Bob on. And we'll do that again at some point. We'll make sure we have him on again. Struz, just setting up the rest of the pod here. I have some stuff that needs to be attended to. Rob Brown is champing at the bit to get in here and spit some Oilers stuff with you. So I'm going to leave you here and let you guys take over the rest of the show. Great. I'll be down at Media Day tomorrow. We'll be filing tons of content on tsn.ca and for Sports Center, so make sure you tune in and check that out. By the way, quick update, Struds. Chris Knobloch did say he expects Connor McDavid to be on the ice tomorrow. Nobody skated today, but he was asked and said he expects McDavid to be on the ice tomorrow. So I'll catch up with you in the coming days, buddy, but have a great rest of your show.
Okay, buddy. Look forward to it. Talk to you guys soon.
Okay, we'll go to break, and when we come back, Brownie checks in with Struddy, and they will take it the rest of the way. Talk soon.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolanddentistry.com.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine-washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
If you're considering a vinyl fence, don't be fooled by cheap marketplace imitations. Get top quality vinyl fence from a trusted company with 20 years in the industry. With locations in Calgary and Edmonton, check out dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Takeaway, sorry. All right, everybody, let's kick this into high gear. We're having Bob Stauffer on. Now to be myself and Rob Brown and Steve as we go into takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports, a proud retailer of both zero electric motorcycles and the new electric motorcycles from Can-Am. Pushing technology and designs limits, these bikes redefine riding. Stop into their South or West Edmonton locations to see the new Can-Am Original.
Sorry, I lost you halfway. I lost you halfway when I was bringing Brownie in. So
Okay.
just the end of that ad read again, Struddy, from the Can-Am Original.
It's all takeaways, and it's Martin Motorsports. They're a Can-Am Original and Can-Am Pulse, as well as the Zero Electric motorcycle lineup. All right, guys. Brownie, there you are. Good to see you, my friend. Talking about this series, Oilers, Florida, second time back-to-back. They've been playing each other. Both teams, I think, are improved. Difference this time, Oilers are at home. Let's go through position by position and kind of see what we think here. Starting with the forwards. We know some of their top players haven't really changed from last year. They added Marchand in there. Tkachuk sounds like he's still injured with the groin. Where do you see, if any, an advantage for Florida or the Oilers up front?
Well, obviously the Oilers are always going to have an advantage. They got Connor and Leon, and no one else does. Not only do they have Connor and Leon, they have a healthy Leon this year. He was not healthy in the playoffs last year. So that's a big difference. Florida only saw the one-headed monster last year. This year they're getting the two-headed monster. They are going to have a healthy Evander Kane that they did not have last year in the playoffs. That will make them better. Where they're going to be missing is they lose Zach Hyman, who, 50-goal scorer that led the NHL in hits. So that hurts. The Florida side, Barkov, he won the Selke again. He is all world. He is the best two-way player in the game. They've got Reinhardt, who can score. Verhaeghe, a goal scorer in the playoffs. Rodriguez, Tkachuk. But what they have, so I think the Oilers' top two players are better than anything Florida can throw at them. Florida's advantage is their third line. Is it Luka Rainen? Is that how I say his name? I always mess it up. He's playing with Lundell and Marchand. That line is fantastic. That is the best third line in hockey right now. That will give the Oilers some troubles. But any team that has Connor and Leon, to me, has a slight advantage up front. So both teams got great depth, but the Oilers have the two superstars and a healthy Leon Draisaitl this year.
Yeah, and you nailed it. I think that Evander Kane being healthy, he would have had a huge impact last year. Panthers like to be physical. They like to play hard, and they play in the gray area of the penalties or of the rule book. That is where Kane lives. He lives in the gray area of the penalty book. So I think that for him being healthy is really, really important for this Oilers team. And he's playing well. I think he's got 11 points in 15 games or something. He's really, really getting it going. I have a hard time picking one or the over the other. Like the fourth line for Florida, Yeah, they're physical and they can hit, but I'm not sure that they have the speed that we see with a guy like the janitor, if he's in that line, or Connor Brown. I'm not sure what that line looks like when they all come back together when Brown comes in. But there's a lot of speed in that group. I think the Oilers overall are faster up front than Florida. And I think that is a really important detail. So not only are they quicker, they're capable of playing physical, and a guy like Corey Perry gets it. He really gets help, what they need, and he's scoring. I'm going to give the advantage, like you, to the Oilers for the forward. So let's look now at the D-men. The D-men, both groups changing. Brandon Montour out, Oliver Ekman-Larsson out for Florida. They've got no Ceci, no Broberg, no Darnay, and in comes Wallman, and in comes Klingberg, the Klinger. What do you see here on the back end? Seth Jones in, I should say, for Florida too.
Well, Florida added huge. I mean, Seth Jones was a trade deadline pickup, and he's become their number one defenseman. There's a couple nights he had 27, 28 minutes earlier in the playoffs. He's been fantastic. He's played better than I even expected him to play when he went to Florida. So Florida, their top four is very good. You got Ekblad, Lundell, was it Lindell? Is that the defenseman?
Gustav Forsling.
Forsling,
Mikkola.
Ekblad, Mikkola. And then on their third pairing, they got Nate Schmidt, and I think it's the big Russian, Kulikov, that used to play for the Oilers. Yeah. So I believe it's funny, the Florida Panthers defense is is huge and physical. The Oilers defense is big, but more skilled. They can move the puck. You think Klingberg, Wallman, Nurse, Bouchard, Kulak, even Ekholm jumping up. So I think that Florida's got the edge physically on the back end. The Oilers got the edge moving the puck, transporting either through passing or through skating. I would say it's really close on the back end. I think if Ekholm is completely healthy in this series, I would give the Edmonton Oilers a very, very, very slight advantage on the back end.
I love how you broke that down, because you nailed it. Panthers D are going to be physical. They're going to get in your face and try to make it really hard to get to their net. Where the Oilers are built more to move the puck, get the puck up, and I actually favor that style of play. Now, that's what I think. You can still slash guys like Darnell, be physical, but I think they move it quick. I think for the Panthers, the challenge they're going to have is the speed for the Oilers forwards. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that group, I've watched some other series when other teams played fast. Doesn't mean just skating fast, getting the puck, moving it quick, and not letting them kind of suck you into their heaviness or into like a mosh pit. I think that they struggled. So I think the Oilers forwards are going to be skating full speed at these D, and over time that'll hopefully, if you're an Oilers fan, break that group down. I honestly, I think these D are a wash. I really do, but they're very different, because you yes. Absolutely nailed it. Really, really good breakdown. Didn't even need me to jump in. So that leaves us with the goalies. Sergei Bobrovsky, obviously for the Panthers, playing pretty well, and then you've got Skinner and Pickard, I guess, but I'm assuming it'll be Skinner and Bobrovsky for most of that series. What say you, Brownie?
Well, coming into the series, both of them are playing fantastic. If you just looked at stats over the last, series and a bit, you would say it is a wash. Now, you can't just look over a 7-game or 8-game grouping. You have to look over the course of players' careers. Bobrovsky is probably the best money goaltender in the NHL right now. I mean, this is 3 straight years his team's gone to the Stanley Cup Finals. He won the Cup last year. Game 7, he gave up 1 goal. He was fantastic in Game 7 last year. So Skinner would be the underdog in that one. Bobrovsky would be the favorite. But the one thing that we've seen thus far in the playoffs, the Oilers goaltenders have upset every goaltending matchup they've had thus far. Because the Oilers, every single time we did this, we gave the advantage to the opposition. And every series, it was the Oilers goaltenders that were the better of. So Bobrovsky would be the advantage. I mean, he's got a Stanley Cup already. He's been to the finals 3 times. He is he's a Hockey Hall of Famer. He has the advantage, but the way Stuart Skinner is playing right now, the advantage is not as big as it would have been, say, Game 3 of the LA Kings series.
Yeah, I don't have to add to that. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. So I'm going to move on to the final piece before we make our predictions. Steve, myself, and Brownie. Intangibles. So these are the two I see. One, home ice advantage for the Oilers. I think this is huge. I think it's absolutely massive that that they're able to do this and able to be at home, a little bit less travel, and all those pieces. The second part, I'm going to get into our digital inbox, and you can get this one right. It's from Knobloch, Steve. So the digital inbox brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. The summer weather is coming, and if you don't have an air conditioner yet, don't wait. Weiss Johnson is your home comfort specialist, so give them a call and enjoy a summer with a brand new AC unit. Specializing in servicing your existing mechanical systems or installing new ones, visit Weiss-Johnson.com today. Hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local and family owned.
All right. So this is Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, and he's going to make my point. This is about we have a different mood on the team. Hit it, Steve.
We have a different mood. One, last year was new to us. We didn't know what the Stanley Cup Finals was going to be like. But also the way we went into this, Game 6 against Dallas, we didn't play our best game. We did win it, but it wasn't our strongest game. A little bit different. Game 5, we had the lead throughout. Felt good about that. But I think we just with probably the biggest change, the mood is just we've been here before. We've done the press conferences. We've answered the question about what it's like to be in the Stanley Cup Final. We know what to expect. We've seen this team before. There's a lot of familiar things about this. So I think we're just I don't want to say regular thing, but we're accustomed to it.
So, Brownie, my point is, obviously number one, the home ice, but this is it. They've done this already. And I feel like watching this team, the highs haven't been as high and the lows haven't been as low. Last year, it seemed like every play, all of us, the fans, the media, the players on the team, it was an emotional roller coaster. This year, you watch that team, they're much calmer. Even Connor just picking up the trophy at the end, like, yeah, we're just going to take it. Who cares? It doesn't matter at all. This team, to me, has learned what it's like. So they're home for most of this, home ice, and then the experience they garnered last year. I think this is a huge intangible for them, Brownie.
I agree. It's funny, at the end of Knobloch's talk there, he said regular, then he stopped occurrence. Well, it's become a regular occurrence for the Florida Panthers, and here's hoping that this trip to the finals does become regular for the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah. The intangibles that I see is one of the reasons that Florida walks through the Eastern Conference is they play a type of game that no one in the Eastern Conference can combat. They are a big, physical bully of a team. And they went through Tampa. Tampa's an incredibly skilled team, but they're not the bullies that Florida is. Toronto, skilled. They went out and got some players, but again, not really physical. Carolina, not physical at all, tried playing physical against Florida, and it backfired. But the Oilers are physical. The Oilers are the equal to the Florida Panthers when it comes to physicality. Both teams have rats. I mean, the Oilers have Nurse, Kane, Perry. Florida's got Ekblad, Tkachuk, Marchand. I mean, both teams have players that'll get under your skin. So there's no advantage for the Florida Panthers when it comes to physicality or bullying. So right there, that is, again, it's a wash, but that is an advantage that the Florida Panthers usually have. And the other one that I see that's an intangible that the Oilers can take full advantage of. The Florida Panthers are an incredibly aggressive hockey club on their forecheck, on their pinches, in their own zone. They are always trying to throw big hits, and they do. But they give up a lot of odd man breaks. And we saw that last year, game 1. Bobrovsky stood on his head. He probably had about 4 or 5 breakaways. The Edmonton Oilers are a better team than the teams that Florida has played thus far. They've got higher skilled players. If Florida is as aggressive as they are and give up as many odd man rushes against, I believe that's something that the Edmonton Oilers can take advantage of. And they've seen that now. And they know that they are going to get those opportunities, so it's not going to surprise them. So there's an intangible. I think at times the Florida Panthers can be over aggressive, and that's something the Oilers can take advantage of.
Before we make our predictions, And we'll all make them right after this. We're going to go back into the Weiss Johnson digital sound box and hear from Chris Knobloch about the impact of Evander Kane. Hit it.
I think we're better equipped this year. We've got more of, especially up front, a lot more physical players. Evander Kane, we didn't have him last year for the series. We had him for 2 games, not being healthy. Do I think he can make a difference? Absolutely. Physicality, scoring, making those plays. We missed him last year, and I think he'll be a big part of this series now. But also, guys, Trent Frederick is a guy that we wanted for throughout the playoffs. Here's a guy that can play with a very similar game, not quite as much edge as Evander, not as quite as much offense, but a pretty darn good hockey player who can play that physical game. So, addition of those 2 guys, some other guys also, but, I think to answer your question, yes, Evander Kane will be a nice addition.
So there you go. Adding on to Rob Brown's point. You've heard all the news. We've broken it down. Bob Stauffer, Rob Brown and I. Chris Knobloch joined us, obviously, to tell us what he thinks. So where do you want to start? Steve, do you want to jump in and give your prediction first? My man, good to see you, by the way.
You too, boys. I missed you guys too. Miss you every day. That's first thing I think of when I wake up. I'm thinking Oilers in 5 or 7, and I'm just going to say Oilers in 5. I'm just going to say it. I think they're going to do it at home, and I think we're going to see a way stronger team, especially at the beginning of the series, than we did last year. I think going 0-3 last year, I think is going to have an effect on them, and they're not going to want to do that again. I think that home ice advantage is going to be big for the first couple, and they'll lose one along the way and then come right back and win it at home. That's my prediction.
Bold statement from Steve. Rob Brown, you're next, sir. Are you as bold as this fine gentleman?
Well, in all honesty, I'm not going to predict how many games it's going to go. I'm going to predict how many games I want it to go. I want it to go 7. These are the 2 best teams in the National Hockey League. I love great hockey. I want this to go 7 games, and the Edmonton Oilers are victorious on home night. So I'm predicting Edmonton Oilers in 7 incredible hockey games.
Home ice advantage. They know they've been through it. Oilers are faster. I think they'll get after the Panthers D. Oilers in 5. I think they're going to come out and they're going to win both at home, split in Florida, and come home and win to 5. I've been on this trip. I know I started with LA winning. I was almost right, so that doesn't really matter. And then the next 2 I got right. So I'm 2 for 3 or 2 out of 3. This one, I think I'm going to nail it, just like Dallas. I call Dallas losing or in 5. I think this is where we're coming. So we've got 2 Oilers in 5 and an Oilers in 7 because Brownie wants to be selfish and extend this thing out and stress out
100%.
Oilers fans across.
Well, listen to you over there. Meatloaf, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Well, it is bad in the playoffs. If you're 2 out of 3, you're not moving on. So yeah, Meatloaf, you're done. You lost in the first round. You can't even let you predict this one. You should have lost your voting privileges. But since you're here, we'll take your 5 in. And I think that's a good call. But I want this series to go long, and I want it to go 7, and I want the Oilers to have one of the. It's two good teams. They deserve to play as long as they can.
Let's get your thoughts on it in the stream. If you have a chance, put what you think is going to be. We'll get to those later and ask us anything. Obviously, if you get a chance, give us a thumbs up as well. Lots to get to here. Let's get into our Relentless player now. Brought to you by You Can Use Services, an Edmonton charity that is relentless in providing possibility for the youth in our community. Mental health is a foundation for growth and success, and the key to thriving, not just surviving. With 2 in-house counselors providing free therapy sessions, our youth have support while they navigate their struggles and rediscover their strength. Visit youcan.ca to donate today. Brownie, when you have played in the NHL and there's a streak of 45 consecutive years of players playing the Stanley Cup Final that you played with, you've been around for a while. So that came out the other day. Jaromir Jagr has had 45 years of constant players in the finals. It started in 1980 with Brian Trottier and goes up to this year with Alexander Barkov. Just an incredible streak. And I'm sure there are other players who have some years, but this is crazy how many people have played in Stanley Cup that were teammates of Yags.
Well, it shows you how long he played, for one.
Yeah.
And I'm on that list because I played with Yags, played against him in the Stanley Cup Finals too. So, yeah, it's that Kevin Bacon thing, 6 degrees of separation or whatever it was, and it's the Jaromir Jagr one. But 40, that is pretty cool. I wonder how many guys are left, because he still played a few years ago, so this could keep on going. So, but no, I like that one. Jaromir, is he still playing, or did he retire this year?
I thought he played a couple games. I think this was his past year's last year.
I think this was his last year, yeah. So,
yeah,
although
unbelievable.
They haven't picked the Czech Olympic team yet. Maybe Jaromir Jagr's on that too. Just power back.
What a guy. 45 consecutive Stanley Cup Finals where you played with someone who was a teammate. Free tickets for 45 years. Unbelievable. Unbelievable thing. And he was in a few of those as well, a few of those finals. All right, that was the Relentless player. We'll dive into a poll here, a YouTube poll brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. I played today with the bag I got from them, and it was looking so good. I got so many compliments. Dust off those old clubs and get ready for the new season. New grips, new driver, heck, a whole new set or a bag. DeBoer's Golf has you covered. Locally owned and operated, DeBoer's Golf has been in business for over 25 years, and they're ready to help you play better golf. Visit them on the corner of 53rd Ave, 99th Street, or at deboersgolf.com. And what have you got for us tonight, Evie?
So the question for the poll: which Oiler will exceed expectations offensively in the Stanley Cup Final? The 4 answers are Klingberg, Brown, Janmark, or Jeff Skinner. Which Oiler will exceed expectations offensively in this upcoming series? Klingberg, Brown, Janmark, or Jeff Skinner?
Well, I don't have Jeff Skinner playing a single game, so if he gets 1 goal, that would be exceeding my expectations. But I am going to go with I'm going to go with Jeff Skinner. I think something happens and he gets in 1 game and produces a point, because I don't believe he's scheduled to play in this series. So Jeff Skinner's my guy.
Okay, so we better get to that. So if Connor Brown is back in, that's according to head coach Chris Knobloch, who comes out then? Jeff Skinner?
I would think. That's my prediction. Especially since the way they had their lines yesterday, Jeff Skinner was on a 3rd line with Henrique and Frederick, I believe. That would be Connor Brown's spot. That's right.
Yes, I think so. Frederick, Henrique, and Connor Brown on the right? So that's your third line, whatever line it is. Then 4th line is Puck Holden, Arvidsson, and the janitor. Yeah.
Starting over at 61 is asking if we mean Connor Brown or Rob Brown. So just to be clear, starting over at 61, it's Connor Brown that we're talking about for this poll.
There's a very low bar for me, so I could really exceed it because my bar is so low right now. So I'm going to change mine. Can I pick me? I think I got an opportunity to do
You've already exceeded expectations tonight, buddy.
You're right.
Well, I didn't want to say this, and Brownie will be mad, but Rob Brown actually has an injury, has a broken thumb, so he's unable to participate in the finals. That's why he hasn't played yet, guys.
It's the only reason I'm not playing. You're right. Basketball is a tough sport with playing with grade eights.
People break their thumbs all the time.
Like this kid he had to have been at least 5'4", 78 pounds too. Took it to the hoop on him though.
I heard he was just broke 80 when he ran into you. So broke 80 pounds. So big guy. Guys, that's a good question. But I think I'm going to go Klingberg. I honestly think that his puck movement is going to be just elite. And they know, like it's one thing when you're a D-man to kind of wonder what you're going into. They know this could be 7 games of hell, and you want to move that puck as quick as you can. So the faster you get back to it and make a play, the better off you are. You're going to take less hits, or not even just the hits, just to be under less pressure. And I think that Klingberg, Bouchard, Wallman, every one of these guys can make plays. I expect them to do that and to do it quickly. So I'm going to go Klingberg, the Klinger, as I don't think anyone actually calls him that, but we'll call him that here. Tough nickname. Okay, we'll do the scoreboard a little bit later. Let's dust out here really quick. When we come back, it'll be Brownie points, Struddy's World. Then we'll do some core adjustments. That's all next here. Stay with us. Talk to you soon.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has been delivering a high-quality golf experience to Edmonton and area. This beautiful private club, located on Highway 21 just south of Sherwood Park, occupies 160 acres and presents a challenging yet adventurous 18-hole design. A beautiful clubhouse, fully stocked pro shop, and warm, friendly staff truly make it feel like you belong to something unique and special. Visit www.belvederegcc.com.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Oh man, that music can only mean one thing. Time for our good buddy, Sir Roberto Brown, for his brownie points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Did you know the ultimate game day snack is Canadian owned and operated? Opened in 1962 right here in Alberta. Support Canadian business and take part in their June special, $97.29 for 3 pounds of jerky, and as always, free shipping Alberta-wide. Visit albertajerky.com to see more. Brownie, let's do this, you old dog.
All right. Well, this one goes out for my son, who's the big basketball fan in the family. I got 31 brownie points to Indiana Pacer and ex-Toronto Raptor Pascal Siakam, who scored 31 and was named points last game and was named the Eastern Conference MVP as his Pacers are moving to the finals. Now, the funny thing, and the reason I added this to brownie points, other than the fact that I'm a big fan of Spicy P, is if anyone watched it or watched the highlights of it, when they were announcing the Eastern Conference MVP, so I don't know if it was the commissioner or whoever's up there, and ladies and gentlemen, Eastern Conference MVP there's another player on the team, Indiana, Tyrese Halliburton, who is a fantastic player. He is standing there, and I don't know if I could show it. He's pointing at himself like this as they're announcing Eastern Conference MVP, and then he starts walking up to the table when they announce Pascal Siakam, and the look on his face, like, looked around and then kind of went back into the thing. Oh my God, it was so funny. It's like how bad is that? But yes, so that is why I'm giving Spicy P 31 brownie points, because he was very deserving and he had one of his teammates try to steal his thunder. I got 3 brownie points to Florida Panthers Sasha Barkov, who was awarded his 3rd Selke. I believe that was today they made that announcement, as the NHL's best defensive forward. He will need to be at his very best in these finals, as we talked about earlier. He is going to be playing against not just the best player in the National Hockey, he's going to be playing against the 2 best players in the National Hockey League. Leon was not at his best last year. He was injured. Sasha Barkov is going to have to earn all the accolades that he received today, but he is a superstar. I've got 73 brownie points to the Edmonton Oilers and the Panthers, who are combined .730 winning percentage so far in the playoffs, with the Panthers being 12-5, the Oilers being 12-4. Both teams coming in hot. The Panthers 8-2 in their last 10, the Oilers 12-2 in their last 14. These are not only the best 2 teams in the NHL, they are also playing, as they are also hot. Both teams are hot right now going into the finals. This should set up for a great finals. I have 909 brownie points to Oilers' Stuart Skinner, who last year in the finals against these same Florida Panthers had a .909 save percentage. If anyone's wondering, Sergei Bobrovsky in the finals last year against these same Edmonton Oilers had an .899 save percentage. Last year in the 7-game series, Stuart Skinner, for all those doubting him, had a better save percentage than Bobrovsky in the same 7 games. Also, in those 7 games, Bobrovsky, he was pulled once. So Stuart Skinner has played against these Panthers in the finals. 909, that's a pretty good save percentage. He does that again this year. I believe the Edmonton Oilers win this series. And finally, the last one. I got 7 brownie points to the hockey fans around the world. We here in Edmonton and a lot of Canada are obviously hoping for an Oilers Stanley Cup championship. I am as well. But wouldn't it be great to see 7 fantastic hockey games that finishes up on Friday, June 20th with a Game 7 victory for Connor, Leon, and the rest of the Edmonton Oilers? That is my hope, and that is tonight's Brownies Points.
Love it, Brownie. And I want it for the guys on the team and all the staff, like anyone associated with that group. And then I want it so badly for the city and the fans. I want it so badly for them. Like it pep us everybody up and you feel good about yourself. And then we can stop talking about this curse of, Canada not winning Stanley Cups, because there's a lot of talent north of the border right now. So let's hope they can all be celebrating that. All right, that was Brownie Points, brought to you by good buddies at Hamel's Premium Jerky. Let's slip into the world, a little slinkier. Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products, Alberta's leading supplier.
Hold on, buddy. Hold
products.
on. We got to play the intro. Intro.
Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
Here it comes.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
There we go. I got a little excited. I got a good one, Tape. Struddy's World is brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products, Alberta's leading supplier of vinyl products. DLR offers premium materials for fences and decks designed to stand the test of time, no rotting, fading, or deteriorating. Whether you're looking for a professional contractor or planning to tackle the project yourself, we have the resources and expertise to help. Canadian owned and operated with locations in Calgary and Edmonton. Check them out online at dlrvinylproducts.ca. All right, with the Memorial Cup just wrapping up, I thought of a memory I had when I went to my first Memorial Cup a number of years back, and we had just won the Western League, and no one really kind of knew how good we were. I thought we were pretty good, and our coach Don Hay felt like maybe we thought the job was done, and so what he did is before one of the off days, before our tournament, he brought us all in the room. Again, you got to remember we're 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever, and he gets a pen out and he goes, we're going to go around this room. We're going to say who we're playing for and why. And we're going to write it on there. We're going to put this stick over top of in our room. So then we get ready to play. We look up at that stick. We know who we're trying to honor with how we play. And I tell you what, that had such a huge impact on me personally. And I think our team, it was very emotional. Remember, these kids at that time, we were all teenagers, and at that time, you weren't the most emotionally open group of people on the planet. And they came in and we started writing. I remember I talked about my grandpa who'd passed and how he would have loved to have been here. I want to watch me play, and I want to be proud of what he does. And people went around, their parents, their mom, their brother, or whatever. And it was such a good thing. And we won. We ran over everybody. And Brownie, I want to say Don Hay took that stick, and maybe you heard the story from your dad, but it was such a great moment. And I'll never forget it. It was a great moment for us to open up and kind of get ourselves ready to play and refocused on why we play and why we were there.
No, it is a great idea. And I remember, my father was your GM back then for you guys, him talking about it. So that is really, really cool. For my first Memorial Cup, we were in Kitchener, and then I think it was Kitchener. We were playing in the opening game, and halfway through the second period, it was 7-0 for the Kitchener Rangers. And our coach, Bill LaForge at the time, turned to the assistant coach, said, next whistle, I'm just sending them. We're just going to brawl them. And I remember the assistant coach telling me, you can't. This is on national TV. It doesn't matter. We're going to brawl them. If we can't win the game, we're going to win the fights. And I'm sitting there. I'm 15 years old. I'm like, oh, please, assistant coach, talk him out of it. Talk him out of it. He did talk about it. We came back, made it 7-6, hit the post, and they shot it down into an empty net. They beat us on an empty net goal. But I remember Bill LaForge. I think we just send them and brawl them. I'm like, oh, no, that's not a good idea. I'm like, don't send them. Don't send them. That was my first game in the Memorial Cup.
Oh, man. Yeah, we'll get to the Memorial Cup in a moment, but it was a ton of fun. And those are neat things. Like, you remember those types of things when you're on a team and someone kind of inspires you to be bigger than you are and why you're coming together and coming to play. So I thought that was a great, and I'd never had anything like that as a team bonding at all
I'm pretty
prior
sure.
to
I'm pretty
my.
sure on that. Talking about that, Struz. I watched some of this Memorial Cup, and they had the most winningest coaches at Memorial Cup, and I'm pretty sure Don Hay was number 2. I think Brian
Who would be
Kilray was
number
up.
one?
I
Oh,
think
Kilray.
Late Desjardins was up there, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Dale Hunter is the leader of all that. But yeah, Don Hay was on there, who was an assistant coach for me in junior, and then was the head coach for you as well. Very good coach.
Yeah. Our 2 years we went 8-0. Like he had us dialed in, man. That guy had us dialed in. Okay, that was Studies World. Let's slip into a little bit of core adjustments brought to you by HSC Core Services. If you're a small and medium-sized business, HSC Core has your back when it comes to health and safety and compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements, HSC Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsccore.com. That's HSECOR.com for more info. Brownie, we're going to assume the lines are going to start, how they were to end it, right? Connor, Leon, Henrique, Janitor, and the wingers to accompany them. If things don't go well early, and the Oilers historically have not been great in games 1 to 2, maybe 3, what would be the first sign that he's looking to change things up, in your opinion, as far as shifting the lines?
Well, you will see Connor and Leon playing together. If
Yeah.
as our good friend Schauger says, it will go nuclear, and then they will put the two superstars together. So we will see them at times, but if you see them coming out to start a period, it probably means the previous period didn't go as planned for the Edmonton Oilers. The one great thing being home ice to start the series, Struddy, is Chris Knobloch right from the get-go gets to set the tone with the lines that he wants. And it's funny, a lot of these series you'll see where both coaches decide they both want to play the same guys against the same guys. But it'll be interesting to see who Knobloch puts Connor against and who he puts Leon against, and at what point he puts them out there together.
I love that, because I think you just nailed it. I think that what the first sign would be those two guys going in. And I think also what we might see is a double shifting of Connor and Leon with a fourth line. Some combination of Janitor, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson. Maybe Janitor misses a shift or Janitor bumps up and plays with somebody else. I think it's always the same warning signals, right? It's like, or warning signs. Oh, things aren't going well. We're putting these guys together. And I get it. That's like the situation we're at. But I think getting them going at that fourth line, because he's going to ride these guys. They're not tired. I don't believe they're tired, or any more tired than anybody else. I think that they'll have 7 games of juice left in them, and they're going to ride these guys if needed. But quite honestly, I think the team's better when they play 4. That's why you mix them in at the bottom. Whoever.
I agree. And it's also the way that Knobloch sets the lines up. The fact that he has Arvidsson and Podkolzin playing on the fourth line with Janmark. Well, that was Leon's line for most of the year. So when he slides into the fourth line, he's playing with 2 guys that he probably played 50 games with. So it's an easy switch. Janmark's a guy, okay, we're not putting you on the fourth line because Leon's there. He's a guy that can spell a couple shifts with Connor because now he can move Perry, because Perry's not a guy that's going to play 21 minutes a night. So Knobloch is masterful when it comes to moving pieces around during a game, between games. Everything you think, okay, that doesn't make sense. Well, then at the end of the night, I can see why he did it now. So, but yeah, if things are going sideways, that's when you see Connor and Leon together. It's something nice to have in your back pocket if you're a coach.
And one more adjustment. I don't believe that either team is really going to be too worried about matchups. I think the fourth line for Florida won't get a ton of ice time. But the problem with matchups, Brownie, and you're more well-versed as a forward than I am, when you're looking for matchups, sometimes people don't get to play all the time. Mm-hmm. And then a smart other coach, if let's say they have Connor lined up against the third line of Florida, as an example, they don't play that third line. So Connor doesn't get out there, right? So those are little tricks guys can play. So I don't think we'll see a ton of line matching per se, maybe to start a period and stuff, but not like hard 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, you know what I mean?
Well, the star players hate it. They really do, because star players, first of all, they're confident enough, I can play against anyone. And B, you're up and all of a sudden, oh, wait, no, hold back. We're going to hold you back, Connor or Leon, because they're putting someone else there. what I'm doing, if I'm the coaching staff of the Florida Panthers, okay, who are they playing their third and fourth lines against? Okay, you go back out there again. Okay, you go back out there again and start double shifting them, trying to keep Connor and Leon off the ice. So I don't think Knobloch is worried about it. I think both coaches are quite confident in all four of their lines. Their fourth line for both teams, not as offensively gifted, but both coaches trust them with their defense side. And I think that's what coaches look for. We don't care if you score. We have faith on you that when you come off the ice hasn't been slanted against us. So I think both teams are pretty confident with all four lines rolling.
I love it. That was a core adjustments. Can't wait to get this underway and see what actually transpires. But I think knowing what happened last year, I think we have a pretty good sense of what it's all about. Before we go to break, let's get to our Canadian Club scoreboard, brought to you by our good buddies at Canadian Club. The all-new Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in an incredible 58%. Their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date is a full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish. So Brownie, we're going to talk Memorial Cup. It's always semifinal Friday, final Sunday. So that was last night. Medicine Hat Tigers, rep of the Western Hockey League, and then the London Knights. And it was early that London got up, and they ended up winning 4-1. The Western League hasn't won one since 2014 when the Oil Kings did it. Long time to go without a champion here from the West. But as I watched that game, it just didn't look like they were going to get it done. And the Tigers were led by Gavin McKenna.
Yeah, Gavin McKenna, who I watched the first probably period and a half, maybe a little bit longer than that. The Knights kept McKenna in check. So I haven't seen a whole lot of junior games this year. So I actually had to look to see what number McKenna was because I didn't notice any superstars in the first two periods. So I'm like, hey, which number is he? I saw that he scored in the third period, but by then London built up a pretty big lead. London's good. They are a powerhouse. They are a consistent OHL championship. The Hunter brothers have done it right in London, and good on them. But yeah, it's been a dry spell for the Western Hockey League. So hopefully next year is the year. But yeah, it was while I watched it, it was the London Knights were by far the more dominant of the two teams.
So congrats to those players getting to the finals. Amazing, but it's always hurts when you lose that last game. It really, really hurts. Interesting now too, with the new agreement between the NCAA and CHL, players can leave. So Gavin McKenna isn't draft eligible till next June. So there's a lot of talk about him perhaps moving on. And I saw different reports that maybe he was going to Michigan. Was it State or Michigan? Yeah, I think it was Michigan State. Either way, it doesn't matter. That he may be moving on to NCAA. So we won't get to see him. I saw him play here in Edmonton, I think once or twice. Talented player, but that's what happened. Steve, you got something, buddy?
I actually accidentally put myself in the shot, but I will say, okay. Don't worry, Brownie. Don't worry, Struddy, because the Kelowna Rockets are hosting next year's Memorial Cup, and we got this. Oh. Yeah, so we will.
Kelowna, though, they were like our, that was what we go every time we felt we're struggling as a team. It's okay. We got Kelowna on the schedule, just on the highway and knock them around a bit. So
that was a long time ago, buddy.
Good. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, we'll see. Let's see what happens. I mean, the Memorial Cup is so much fun. And I think the Oil Kings, give them a couple of years. I think they're trending in the right direction. They've got some good young players as well. Okay, let's step out here, guys. When we come back, we'll take a lap and get to ask us anything. You can chime in with whatever you want, and then play of the day. And then that'll be it. And we will wait with bated breath for game one. Well, the Struddy's World on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, or it's at 12 o'clock, kind of getting ready for that game. Looking forward to it. Let's take a quick break, come back with Take a Lap, some interesting developments around the NHL.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Choosing the right health and dental coverage can feel overwhelming, but Alberta Blue Cross is here to make it simple.
Their user-friendly website features a free quote tool to guide you through choosing your plan, or you can chat directly with one of their specialists for personalized help. Every plan includes access to personal, nutritional, and financial counseling at no extra cost. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/personal to learn more.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Welcome back, everybody. Time to take a lap, brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or a construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, Acon wants to hear from you. One of Canada's original industrial contractors, they are building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada, and you can be a part of it. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join the Acon team and start building what matters today. Join Acon now by sending your resume to trades@acon.com. All right, we all saw what happened to the Dallas Stars and Pete DeBoer. Well, today, coming from Dave Pagnotta of the fourth period, I quote his tweet. He says, "Noise out of Dallas, repeat DeBoer. Per multiple sources, players are not pleased with how he handled several situations during the Western Conference Final, along with post-game 5 and exit media remarks. Told players voice concerns during internal exit interviews. DeBoer has 1 year left on his contract. Brownie, I think Pete DeBoer is a good coach, and I think he has immediate impact with kind of jolting his team up the standings. I mean, 3 years to the Western Conference isn't bad, but the way that he handled the Jake Ottinger situation in Game 5, how heavy can that weigh on the decision of a GM or an organization to keep this coach or let him go after what's accomplished the first 3 years?"
Well, I mean, there's another thing. I think I saw a stat that he has been to the Western Conference or to the conference final 7 times. He's only moved on once. So it's not as though the success has just continued to follow him everywhere he's gone. I said after the Ottinger thing, we talked about it on the podcast that night, and to me, it was almost like he was deflecting blame away from anything he did. Well, this was on Ottinger. The Oilers are a better team. Blah blah blah. Like there was nothing. He didn't say anything. You know what? We just didn't do enough good. Like it was never we, or it was never I. It was always them, him. To me, that would irk players because you are a team, and some of the decisions that were made, he made. So I said after the Ottinger event, I said that might be the end of DeBoer's. I really do. I just think that's a tough one to confront. If Ottinger is a world-class goalie with a brand new 8-year contract, if they can't get along, it's much easier to get rid of the get rid of the coach with only one year left on his contract. So I don't believe Pete DeBoer will survive this, and I do believe he will be moving on. He will be hired quickly, but I don't think he's going to survive what happened because it was embarrassing what he did to Ottinger.
Yeah, I think that if you're talking about it, you're already there, right? If you're not, it's kind of hard to say, well, we're not going to talk about it. Nothing's going to happen. Well, we're talking about it. If we're talking about it, I think it's like you're going to break up with your partner. If you're thinking about it, it's probably going to happen. So I think we got to have it. So it'll be interesting, though. He's a good coach, and does he quickly get picked back up? And that's where I'm going next. Apparently, according to our good buddy Pierre LeBrun, and this is his tweet, expect the Bruins to announce their coaching hire early this week. My understanding is that they're down to 2 candidates. They did in-person final interviews with candidates last week. So last month, it was people like Marco Sturm, Jay Woodcroft, Mitch Love, Luke Richardson, Joe Sacco, Jay Leach, those types. I'm guessing it's maybe a Marco Sturm, Mitch Love, or Jay Woodcroft who are kind of in the final mix for that coaching job in Boston.
I agree until someone like a Pete DeBoer comes available.
Well,
so that's when we're all of a sudden you're the GM and you hear that, oh, wait a second, let's hold on. Well, I mean, we saw almost exactly something like that happened this year with St. Louis. They weren't thinking about firing a coach. Then all of a sudden, Jim Montgomery got fired in Boston. Okay, hey, come on into the office today. Yeah, you're no longer coaching our team because we found something better. So is Pete DeBoer better than a Marco Sturm or a Jay Woodcroft? His track record says he is. So does the Boston Bruins wait a couple extra days before making their announcement to see if something shakes down in Dallas?
I wonder if a call. Do you have to make a call to Jim? Say, I'm not saying are you or aren't you not going to let this coach go, but if I were to announce a coach tomorrow, would I be perhaps missing out on a candidate by Friday? It'd be interesting. But then does Pete DeBoer want that job in Boston, a team that I think is in a massive transition?
Yes, that's true too.
So yeah, that's a kind of an interesting side note there. So let's see what happens. But that was Take a Lap, everybody. And it's now time to dive into the world of Ask Us Anything. And there's a massive amount of questions coming in. We love the stream. We love you taking your night to sit with us and listen, or your morning to listen to it. The Ask Us Anything is brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Founded in 1976, BJ Electric Supplies is a full-line distributor providing quality wholesale electrical products for use in industrial, commercial, and residential settings. Proudly owned and operated in Edmonton, visit bjelectric.ca. And there he is, Steve, sporting the nice playoff beard.
Yep.
Highlights the chin. Very good look.
Yeah, thanks.
What do you got for us, the old dog?
I spent some time on it this morning. First of all, let's just let's end the poll.
Oh yes, thank you.
First off, so the question once again on the poll, on the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll: which Oiler will exceed expectations offensively in the Stanley Cup Finals? Coming in on top was Connor Brown with 43%. So I think expectations is already pretty high for Brown, and he's going to exceed them, according to the fans. Coming in, the rest of the three were very, very, very tight. So Klingberg was second at 19%, Janmark with 18%, and Jeff Skinner at 17%.
I boosted him up. He would have been. He got 3 votes, and one was mine. So we're all excited by that.
Okay. All right. Time for Ask Us Anything. So some thoughts on the stream, or some questions, or some discussion on the stream, I should say, about what will be said in the dressing room before game one to fire up the players. And EMG asks you guys, he says, what was the best inspiring speech either of you received from a coach or a teammate? Let's start with you, Struddy. Anything come to mind?
Well, I mean, the one I shared in Struddy's world about the signing the stick was just, it was so moving. And it was the first experience I had of team building. And if anyone's never had team building, well, you're not really knowing what I'm talking about. But if you have, that first one, it's pretty neat because you've never experienced it before. That was a really good one. I don't really remember any off the top of my head that were better than that, Brownie. I mean, I think for the Oilers this time, I think it's the players talking. I don't think the coach needs to talk at all.
No, I don't think so either. I think Connor McDavid will stand up in front of the room and say, this is our time. So, I mean, there's nothing you really need to do to pump up a team before game one of the Stanley Cup Finals. The best one I ever had, I only had him for a little while as a coach, was I had Badger Bob Johnson. Most positive guy I've ever had as a coach. It's probably why he traded me, but he was very, very good at speeches before the game. So I really enjoyed listening to him for a short time.
All right. Derek McDonald simply says going 0-3, or going down 3-0 last year, was a wake-up call. What do you guys think? Is that going to influence how they start the beginning of this series, Brownie?
I don't think so. I thought game one was fantastic for the Oilers last year.
It was.
They got Bobrovsky. I mean, Bobrovsky was fantastic in that hockey game. It was the only reason the Oilers lost. So, no, I don't. I mean, it might be said, someone will talk about it, but no, I don't think it has any bearing on this year. I think both teams realize these are two new teams, and the Oilers are on home ice. The Oilers want to win game one. I think that's the biggest thing. Win game one. That sets the tone for the rest of the series. Because you lose game one, all of a sudden game two, all the pressure in the world's on you. So game one is very important for the Edmonton Oilers.
I think the experience of having gone through all that, right? They now know, you just, whatever happens in the first game, just park it and move on to the second. Don't let it kind of keep just slipping away from you. So I keep beating that up, but man, that experience makes a big difference, Brownie and Steve-O.
Mm-hmm. Okay, who Shattenkirk's pants asks or says, I was wrong about Kane. I didn't think he'd contribute this much after missing a full year. Kudos. I thought it was a mistake not moving his contract. Kane obviously been a huge factor in these playoffs so far, and we do actually have some sound from Kane today that I'll play really quickly because Schauger did request this one specifically, and this is Kane talking about how he feels this year compared to last year.
Yeah, I mean it was not fun. You know, you're getting needles on off days just to be able to walk around. You know, it's tough, and just the uncertainty of, you know, not necessarily game one. You know, I knew I was going to be playing, but just how I was going to feel out there. So, you know, again, that was last year, and you know, really excited that we get another crack at it this year, and feeling the way I'm feeling.
So, yeah, guys, what do you think about Kane's contribution and just what it means to the team in general, especially now with Hyman gone? Struddy.
Well, with Hyman gone, he's absolutely incredibly important, but I think he just brings a swagger to this group. And when things get really tough, he doesn't hide. He does not shrink from those moments. And, you know, they have other guys that don't either, but he's going to rise up and go out there and find something to do, something to get busy with. So, you know, does that make the difference last year if Kane's healthy? Maybe it does. Brownie?
Well, it's funny. I think he's got that. He'll combat what the Florida Panthers throw. And to me, it's not Kachuk that is going to try to do it. It'll be Marchand. Brad Marchand is he's a guy that contributes offensively, but he is as big a rat as there is in the National Hockey League. I love him as a hockey player. I love that he's on Team Canada and what he's done for the Canadian national team over the years. But Kane will be going head-to-head against Marchand, and they will get under each other's skin. And Marchand doesn't back down, and Kane doesn't back down. So to me, that is, what is it, a game within a game? Those are something else to watch as this series moves on. Marchand versus Kane, see who can be a bigger irritant throughout the 7-game series.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. All right, Obelisk 21 with an interesting one here. He says, should the teams need to dip into their black aces, which team do you think has a better depth at forward and defense in that situation? You know, or how well you know the black aces on the Panthers. What do you think, Brownie?
Well, neither team will go into the black aces. Both teams have enough players in there. So the black aces, when you talk about, that's like a Savoy and all these guys up from the minors. Fair. Those guys aren't even practicing with the Oilers. They practice by themselves. But there are players that are separate players. The Oilers will have like Stetcher and Emberson and Josh Brown on the back end, and probably Dineen skates with them. And then up front, that would be Skinner if he doesn't play tomorrow or on Wednesday. And what's the kid they got at the Jones, Philp. So those are the guys that the Oilers have. I know that the Florida Panthers, I think they actually changed their entire fourth line during one of the series. I think they took three guys out and put 3 completely new guys in. And they also they got a big, tough European defenseman. It starts with B, I think his last name, who played a couple games in the playoffs. Stretch, you know his name?
Belinkis or something. Yeah, Belinkis or something like that.
So I don't know. I think both teams have good depth. I'm not sure which one is better, but I do believe both teams have pretty good depth, guys that have already played in the playoffs. And I think that's key. It's not, you're not getting thrown into the first game in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think both teams have got players that have played at times throughout these playoff struts. So I don't know if either team has an advantage, because if it's a guy coming in from the press box, I'm not sure he's a guy that's going to swing a game or swing a series.
Yeah, you know, especially with you have for the Oilers out Hyman out, like he's a pretty big deal, right? Like if he would have been healthy, now you have both Skinner and probably Arvidsson coming back in. Like I think that makes a difference. But one of those good extra players is now in the lineup for the Oilers, so I would give them the head to the Oilers, but I won't now. I think that what you see is probably what you're going to get. There'll be maybe some small tweaks, but I wouldn't expect much change on the back end for either team. I think they'll leave it where it is. And then the fourth line for the Panthers, you can mix it up a bit, but I don't know that really makes a big difference. I think of the 8 lines, I would say the fourth line of the Panthers is the weakest of all 8 lines for both teams.
Having said that, the one kid that did come in from the press box for the Florida Panthers when Reinhart set out with that Boquist came in and got 4 points in the game. It was a game 4 or 5 against Carolina. He came in and got 4 points playing with Barkov. So there's a pretty good player sitting in the press box.
Yeah.
So.
You got one more, Steve-O?
Yeah, let's end with a fun one here. So Cyril Strainer, personal trainer, says, have either of you guys ever been asked to be a spokesman for something embarrassing or something that you had to turn down?
Yeah, it's not like I think what these people do is really, really cool, but I just knew my friends would really be all over me. And when I was at TSN 1260, I got a call from Dr. Vance Elliott's representative, hair restoration clinic, if I wanted to do it. And I was like, oh my God. And I have no judgment of anyone. I've thought about it, but I was like, because they wanted to document it all and go through it all. Guys, my buddies would have abused me for 1,000 years. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just because they chronicle and I'd be in there getting it done and stuff. So I was very thankful they offered me to even, I don't know why they thought I needed it, but I guess maybe just touch up a little bit on the sides. But honestly, guys, I was like, I wasn't embarrassed about doing it. Just my buddies were just going to be, because it'd be so public, right? That was the hard part.
Yeah, no one's asked me to do anything.
Yeah.
So I'd say yes. If you want me to be your spokesperson, I'll do it. Just ask. Contact Jason Strudwick. He's my agent, so he will book me through anything.
Oh, good to know.
And that's about it.
All right, well, let's just end it off with another comment. Wishing a happy birthday to Mark from Leduc, who's turning 54 today. Happy birthday, Mark. He's a big fan of the show and a big fan of the Oilers, has been a fan of the Oilers for 50 years, apparently. So happy birthday, Mark from Leduc.
I love it. I love it. Happy birthday, big guy. All right, let's wrap things up with our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental, offering a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy. Their experienced team provides personalized care with the latest technology to ensure you get the best treatment possible. Contact gallerydentalYEG.com. I was in a golf tournament today, guys. I think it was the 7th hole. I was about 7 yards off the green. I chipped in for a birdie.
Nice.
You saw my reaction that I just won the Masters. In that moment, I felt like Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Jonathan Daly all wrapped up into one. I almost walked off the course and said I was done. I haven't chipped in all year, Brownie, Steve. I was higher than a kite. Not literally, just figuratively.
Mm-hmm.
I was higher than a kite.
Dropped your club, dropped your glove, dropped your hat, and just waved goodbye. Just done. Mic drop moment for you.
I was playing with 3 ladies. They just looked at me like, why are you so excited? I'm like, I guess I just picked up my thing. They high-fived me and we walked off. So, yeah.
We're proud of you.
Their foursome does. They do it once a week. So they're like, why is this guy so excited? Sally did it twice last Thursday. So it's like, this big guy. No wonder no one invited him to play with him.
All right, everybody. 2 more sleeps away. We got a Struddy's World Wednesday morning, then I Got Your Back pod after game 1. Any final thoughts from either of you as we drift off into the evening?
Oh, no. To me, enjoy the ride. Whether there's a high or a low anytime in this series, enjoy the ride, because when it's all said and done, you want to say you were on that bandwagon the entire time, because this is going to be fun. This city is going to be nuts for the next 2.5 weeks. Enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah, I agree, Brownie. And obviously, Zuby and I are in Kelowna, and we're far from the only Oilers fans here. It's nuts, even in Kelowna. It's awesome. There's car flags everywhere and flags out on people's yards, and it's exciting. I'm going to do the exact same thing, just really, really enjoy the ride. It's been a long time coming, so I'm really, really excited. And good luck on all the pods with Zuby if I'm out for the next few.
Thank you, buddy. It was great seeing you again. And thanks to Brownie. Thanks to all of you for listening, to all of our sponsors for making this possible. Let's just recap. Brownie said Oilers in 7. Steve took a bold stance. He said Oilers in 5 or 7. I didn't know we could pick multiple numbers.
I ended with 5.
And old Uncle Struddy, Oilers in 5. Definitive.
Mm-hmm.
Definitive, not putting in multiple numbers. Let's hope all 3 of us are right. We'll talk to everyone Wednesday for Struddy's World and see you after the game Wednesday night. Get some sleep. You're going to need it. As Brownie said, fun 2.5 weeks. Good night, everybody.
Night, boys.